वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवदीप धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, द्वारका धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, और ग्लोरी श्री और ग्लोरी श्री। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance, Guru Maharaj.
First Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Nairang Chaiva Narotamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udiraye
Tato Jaya Mudiraye
Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashta Prayesha Bhadrishu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
What's next?
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki
Idam Bhagavatam Nama
Vidam Bhagavatam Nama
Purana Brahma Samitam
Purana Brahma Samitam
Uttama Shloka Charitam
Uttama Shloke Tasharitam
Sakara Bhagavan Rishi
Takara Bhagavam Rishi
Nishayasaya Lokasya
Nishriyasaya Lokasya
Danyam Swastaya Namahat
Damnya Swasaya Mahat.
Namaha.
Okay, I guess that's enough. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 6, text number 34, correct?
Okay, it's 34.
Text number 36, it says here.
36, yeah.
Oh, the poster says 34. that he sent me.
Oh, sorry, Guru Maharaj, 34. Then it's 34.
But what you listed here is 36.
Yeah,
On
I'm
the
sending.
the YouTube link says 36.
I will do the editing.
You'll change it, huh?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So it's 34, am I correct?
Yeah, you are correct, Guru Maharaj.
Okay, that's the one I researched already. Okay. Etad etad. Somebody repeat it.
Etad
Yatara
Dhyatura
Chitanam
Chitanam
Matra
Matra
Sparsate Chaya
Spasheshaya
Muhu
Mohu
Bhava Sindhu Plavo
Bhava Sindhu Plavo
Drishto
Drishto
Haricharyan Varnanam
Aricharya Nubaranam
Etadyatura Chitanam
Edat Dhyatura Chitanam
Matra Sparsate Chaya Muhu
Matra Spasheshaya Mohu
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Haricharyan Varnanam
Aricharya Nubaranam
Etadyatura Chitanam
Etadyatura Chitanam
Matra Sparsate Chaya Muhu
Matra Spasheshaya Mohu
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Haricharyan Varnanam
Haricharya Nuvarnanam
Etadyatura Chitanam
Etadyatura Chitanam
Matra Sparsate Chaya Muhu
Matra Spasheshaya Mohu
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Haricharyan Varnanam
Aricharya Nuvarnanam.
Anyone else chant? Do you do like that or not?
Etadyatura Chitanam
Etadyatura Chitanam
Matra Spaste Chayamuhu
Matra Spasheshaya Moho
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Haricharya Nuvananam
Aricharya Nuvarnanam Etadyatura Chitanam
Etadyatura Chitanam
Matra Spasheshaya Moho
Matra Sparsate
Matra
Chaya
Spaste Chayamuhu
Bhava Sindhu Plavo Drishto
Bhava Sindhu Chaya
Bhava
Drishto
Sindhu
Aricharya Nuvarnanam.
Haricharya Nuvananam
Anyone want to chant more?
Etad
Aturachi.
He
Etad certainly.
Atura Chitanam
Atura Chitanam.
of those whose minds are always full of cares and anxieties.
Of those whose mind are always full of cares and anxieties.
Matra
Matra.
objects of sense enjoyment.
Objects of sense enjoyment.
Sparsha
Sparsha.
senses.
Senses.
Ichaya
Ichaya.
by desires.
By desire.
Muhu
Oh.
always.
Always.
Bhava Sindhu
Bhava Sindhu.
the oceans of nations.
The ocean of nations.
Bhava,
Bhava,
boat. Boat. Drishta, experienced. Haricharya, activities Hari, the personality of
Harichaya,
Godhead. Activities of Hari, the personality of Godhead.
activity of Hari, the
Activities of-
personality of Godhead.
Anuvarnanam,
Anuvananam,
constant recitation.
constant recitation.
Translation. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties, due to desiring contact of the senses with their objects, can cross the ocean of nescience on a suitable boat, the constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. Okay, that is the verse. Now there's quite a long purport because this is the main theme of Bhagavatam, hearing and chanting, hearing the Shravanam Kirtanam. No matter what else we're doing, we need the Shravanam Kirtanam. Otherwise, we won't understand what we're doing or why we're doing it. The symptom of the living being is that he cannot remain silent even for some time. He must be doing something, thinking of something, or talking about something. Generally, the materialistic men think and discuss about subjects which satisfy their senses. But as these things are exercised under the influence of the external illusory energy, such sensual activities do not actually give them any satisfaction. On the contrary, they become full with cares and anxieties. This is called Maya, or that is not. That which cannot give them satisfaction is accepted as an object for satisfaction. So Narada Muni, by his personal experience, says that satisfaction for such frustrated beings engaged in sense gratification is to chant always the activities of the Lord. The point is that the subject matter only should be changed. No one can check the thinking activities of a living being, nor the feeling, willing, and working processes. But if one wants actual happiness, he must change the subject matter only. Instead of talking of politics of a dying man, one might discuss the politics administered by the Lord himself. Instead of relishing activities of the cinema artist, one can turn his attention to the activities of the Lord with his eternal associates, like the gopis and Lakshmis. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, by his causeless mercy, descends to the earth and manifests activities almost in the line of worldly men, but at the same time extraordinary because he's Almighty. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Militan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sajajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Cha Shema Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Sunivari Paschatya Desatarane Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Maha Panchatatmakam Krishna Bhakta Rupa Sarupam Bhaktavataram Bhaktatya Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostika Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. So we'll find this idea everywhere. Krishna says, because of chanting his kata, Tusyanti cha ramanti cha, that devotees are satisfied and blissful by my kata, he says, and by chanting my name, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. Bhagavatam also starts out practically with this information, and I think hopefully we've all experienced also that, somehow we're surviving in this total chaotic world, and and we're attending his classes daily. This is our real work. That's why Prabhupada took the trouble to produce all these books and to make temples as a place to teach the books, as a place to devotees can get together and study and practice also, because otherwise, if people were just reading the book, very few would know what to do, how to practice. They would have maybe some jnana, but they wouldn't have association of devotees, and they wouldn't be able to really understand what's going on. So special mercy. So Shinvata Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidya Naksto Kavishanti Vidunoti Sarit Satam. That by simply talking about Vasudeva, who's Krishna, Shinvata Swakata Krishna, just by hearing this Krishna Kata, then Shinvata Swakata Punya Shravana Kirtana. In itself, this is pious activity. People trying to get punya, they want some pious credit, so they think they can go to heaven or something. But you get the most benefit. It's a magic, because we can see the older devotees. I've been reading these Mataji's memories, and they all say they're just reading Prabhupada's books over and over again. That's their connection. Prabhupada is speaking directly to whoever is reading his book. It's completely personal. His purports, they open up so that someone can understand the Bhagavatam. So we say that prayer, before reciting the Bhagavatam. Narayanam, we should offer respectful obeisance to Narayan and Narayan Rishi, and unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Vasudeva, Vyasadeva, the author, because they've handed this down, and all the disciple succession. We say, a few names in the disciple succession. We want to remember all of them, and we want to be part of it. That we may not be big scholars or be able to, recite the Bhagavatam perfectly, but if we can give people the book, and Prabhupada is the real preacher. So this is our real business. So we can learn to, in its service, hearing the Krishna Katha, speaking Krishna, both as service. In one sense, it's like revealing the mind and inquiring submissively. That's one of the loving exchanges with devotees. So we should just try to direct everything. And quite a few people, Prabhupada told them, read at least 1 hour a day, chant your rounds, follow the regular principles, read my books at least 1 hour a day. So that he also calculated the classes, cover that, because originally there was always morning and evening class. So there's another very famous verse that's also in the same line. Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan satpatam pati Shrotabhya kirtitavyascha jayat pujas janitchida. Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. One pointed attention. Nowadays, because meditation has become so popular and fashionable, and mostly it's coming from Buddhists. So Buddhists talk about mindfulness. I don't know exactly what they mean, be absorbed in the moment. But that's what this means, one pointed attention. One should constantly hear about, glorify, and remember, and worship. Attentive chanting, attentive reading, attentive preaching, not distracted. Then we can get all the benefit, unlimited benefit, by associating with Prabhupada, associating with Krishna, associating with whoever is in the book. When we read about Arjuna, when we read about Narada Muni, they're there. In one place, Prabhupada says, talking about Narada Muni, and it's right in the beginning, says, who has kindly appeared on these pages. Everything that is there on every word of the Bhagavatam. So that there's so many verses, I just like to go over them, but this is another one from the second chapter. Yad anujasina yuktaha karma granti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya kona kuryat kataratim. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. So who would not pay attention to his messages? Actually, probably is only an animal killer would not pay attention, not want to hear the Bhagavatam, not want to hear the Krishna Katha. The sword in the hand to cut through the binding knots, Prabhupada. He said, what is that sword? And he held up his hand like this. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's our weapon to cut us free from all the entanglement of all the past karma, millions of lifetimes. But it can be thrown away just in a minute. It doesn't have to be a long process of Gyani and neti, examining everything and rejecting everything. Just get the message from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chant the holy name, and everything is great. Shinvata Shushu Shadadana Vasudeva Kataruchi Shan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirtha Nishevana. Same thing. By serving the devotees who are constantly freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gets the affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. So stressing here is Vaishnava Seva. By serving devotees, we get blessings, so we can get a taste. Vasudeva Kata Ruchi. And we want to hear more and more. Like whoever's attending this class. Today it's especially small, but we do have ISKCON Kaduna, so that might be a big group, hopefully. We don't have Kumasu today. I don't know if it's when you change and make the class later, if you lost a lot of people. not easy. They have a morning program and another one right after. So serve the devotees. And Nasta Prayeshu Vidreshu. Prabhupada translated this: regular attendance in classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam and rendering service to the pure devotee. Everything that's bad in the heart, which is what's stated in this verse, people whose minds are always disturbed by material desires. This is the poison. Is almost destroyed completely in loving service to the Lord who's pleased with transcendental songs. So Prabhupada, he glorified the devotees who would come to Bhagavatam class every day. He said that's a sign of love for Krishna. And he established this amazing thing that every temple in the world has a Bhagavatam class every morning. And sometimes there's only a few people there, sometimes only the speaker. But nowadays, because of the internet, it's reaching out to even more and more and more people. So we don't know how many people are listening to this on the YouTube or the Facebook or whatever else, and who will look at it later, who will get inspired. We never know. Devotees are not attached. One-on-one preaching is especially good. So then we can get free from the modes of passion, ignorance. So I want to continue this purport. The Almighty Personality of Godhead, by His causeless mercy, descends to the earth and manifests activities almost on the line of the worldly men, but at the same time extraordinary because He's Almighty. He does so for the benefit of the conditioned souls, so that they can turn their attention to transcendence. By doing so, the conditioned soul will gradually be promoted to the transcendental position and easily cross the ocean of nescience, the source of all miseries. This is stated from personal experience by such an authority as Narada Muni. And we can have the same experience also if we begin to follow the footsteps of the great sage, the dearmost devotee of the Lord. And Prabhupada has given us that special mercy that we're having that same experience. And devotees are studying all over Bhakti Shastra and Bhakti Vaibhavsky and what else. So many different classes are going on in so many different languages. Reading groups, which I hope devotees have in West Africa. Many places, the ladies make a group and they meet maybe once a week, maybe twice, maybe every day for a half hour around, maybe a little more. And they just read, take turns, just reading Prabhupada's books. And they get very happy, very enlivened, very fixed up. And all the things that it says in the scripture that you get, we'll get. Because it's medicine. Prabhupada said this Srimad Bhagavatam, when he was on the boat, he said, I don't know how these people, this is such a terrible place. Everyone is so sinful. You know, especially New York City, you get off and everywhere there's signs for, really intense sense gratification. Everywhere is advertised. And, I've probably never seen such things in India, although they're going on, but not just broadcast everywhere. So he said, this is such a terrible place, but you must have some business. So how can I do anything? But he said, if somehow these people will hear the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam, then they will have a change of heart. And we saw that happen. Still happening more and more, actually. Devotees distributed so many Bhagavatam sets all over the world. People are buying them right out in the street, sometimes in America. Buying a whole Bhagavatam set. When they walk to the Indian restaurant and they see the Bhagavatam set outside, they're buying it. And you might note that most of the people we see buying those Bhagavatam sets either Indians, of course, but more, whatever you want to call them, Afro-Americans or black people. Nobody's black, they're not Africans. Many of the so-called Afro-American, their family's been in America much longer than a lot of other people. So they're more Native Americans than a lot of the other backgrounds. But they're really spiritual and they're really buying these Bhagavatams. And we hope we can connect them more and more with more classes also. So it says that we have to be talking, we have to do something, or hearing something. Shinvatam swaka, hearing. Kirtana, Shavanam Kirtanam. You can note that, especially in airports. I was in one airport in China, and they had a really long hallway. And the first shop that was there was selling only headphones, all different kinds of super headphones for sports, for underwater, for this, for that, wireless, Bluetooth, this, that. The whole shop, nothing else. And then I walked all the way, my flight was at the other end. And I think there were 3 other shops the same. So nothing but these headphones. People want to hear things. They want to hear, there's so much, they call it white noise, but it's really horrible noise in cities. Just traffic, just, machines roaring, air conditioners roaring. In your country, so many generators, and cars with no mufflers, just blasting exhaust fumes and noise. So people want something else. So we have to give them the real thing, we have to connect them, we have to direct them. Another place, when Purport Prabhupada said, the best thing is to divert the mind to the Vedic literature. And that means Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, Ramayana, all these Krishna Katha. And it's fascinating. And, our mind may think, well, I read that, I've got to go to Louis Bazaar and get more different books, But some devotees did read a lot of other, Goswami books and stuff. And it gradually came to the point that Prabhupada is giving us the essential, what we need to know to go back to Godhead from all the previous acharyas in his purports. They're very sublime. It's something we have to read again and again to understand it. I think every devotee, when they first read, they're just totally blown out, and completely fascinated, and thinking, I'm going to read this, 24 hours a day. I'm going to chant 24 hours a day. I'm going to do all these things. But then we kind of slide back. But if we just keep putting our mind to it and hear this Krishna Katha and talk Krishna Katha, benedict other people by talking or giving them a book. There's one quote, I said it many times before Krishna, this one got published. Said, whenever we meet a devotee, we should ask them, what have you been reading today? If we want to have a community, we want to have a loving community, we want to have, good marriages, we want to have good relationships with the management and the workers, we have to be Krishna conscious. Then other things will automatically fall in line. But even if we learn so many techniques without the Krishna consciousness, without, the main business being to hear and chant about Krishna, nothing will work. So we're really requesting everybody, this is what Prabhupada, of course it was ecstasy, but it's inconceivable what he did, coming to America, no money, at 70 years old, and he came in the end of September, so that's winter is starting already, and it was one of the coldest winters in the history of New York City. Prabhupada had no place to stay, had to keep moving around. He just had these little Indian rubber shoes, didn't have any really warm clothes. Gradually, when people started to come with him, then they were helping him. But he just carried on and he kept translating, without ever stopping. And had so many books ready to go. When Hayagriva asked him, can I do some service? Prabhupada took a big stack of papers out of the closet and said, can you type this? And it was more Bhagavatam. So he started typing and he saw like sometimes the grammar was not modern English, American. Prabhupada said, yes, change it. And all of a sudden, in a few years, there were so many books and so many devotees, especially 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, so many devotees. Right up, the whole time Prabhupada was present. Just temples were getting flooded. Somebody started a temple, and in a few months, they'd have 50 devotees, starting with this two. And all they did, they had no money, they had no nice place, they didn't have, any amplifiers, they didn't have even good mridanga sometimes. Vishnu John, the first, when he went to Austin, Texas, all he had was a tambourine, I think. And he would sit and chant and play the tambourine. And people would come, what are you doing? What are you doing? He'd say, if I can go to your house, we'll cook a big feast for you. And he made a temple and made a lot of devotees there. So this is still going on. And the way to get a taste is to distribute the books, distribute the holy name. Then we get a real taste for what we're doing. And we don't have to, struggle. We just want to do it. And we're seeing that, I think, when any devotee that goes out and tries to sell books, they get enlivened. Even though most people don't take, that just makes us more enlivened. It's nice to distribute prasadam because very few people will refuse that. And that makes a lot of friends. It also can engage so many devotees. So many people that, maybe couldn't go out and distribute books all the time, but they can either give money or they can go themselves. The Indians like to do that. They consider that like the highest religious activity. But it is when it's prasadam. Just feeding people, boga, it's not, it's pious. But when we're giving them prasadam, we're giving them Krishna injection. And you can't do anything better. So take this seriously. I'm going to read this verse again because it's so nice. Etad jatura chittanam matra sparsech chaya muhu bhava sindhu lavodisto haricharyanu varnanam. It is personally experienced by me that those who are always full of cares and anxieties, now that's everybody, because they want to contact the senses with their sense objects. But what does the Bhagavad Gita say about that? The wise man doesn't take any pleasure in contacting the senses with the object of the senses because it's temporary. Whatever result you get is very temporary. And often it's not very pleasing. You think it is, you've heard about it, but we keep trying, chewing the chewed. Charvata charvananam, chewing the chewed. Try again, try again. There must be some way to get some pleasure out of this. Maybe you get the Guinness in a new bottle. I always remember that one. That was such a joke in Nigeria. The government was celebrating because the Guinness beer brought Nigeria into the modern age with a new beer bottle. It's the same beer, the same hangover, the same, drunkenness, the same violence of the drunken men. So, but they're glorifying just a new bottle. If we're giving the same medicine, we can definitely, however you want to distribute it, devotees need to be innovative and think of different ways to attract people, but we have the same medicine for everybody. Krishna Katha, Krishna Kirtan, Krishna Prasad, Vaishnava Seva, Krishna Seva. So Prahlad prayed, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, Namaste Tejase. I offer obeisances to the most powerful and the source of all power. And Karmasayam, Randaya Randaya, Tamo Grasa Grasa Om Swaha. Please remove these material desires from my heart. They're burning me up. They're like demons. Please take away the material desires so that I can abhayam atmani bhuyishtam om shalom. So I can serve you peacefully without fear, abhaya, in the struggle for existence. Existence is a struggle for me. The richest man has to struggle, sometimes much more. First place, they usually struggle to get rich, then they struggle to keep it, and many other inconveniences come along with being rich or being poor too much. But the trick is, yoga is to become satisfied with what you get, not care what you don't get. Don't worry that someone else has more. No matter how much you have, someone has more. Even if you could have more of everything than any man on this planet, it's nothing compared to Krishna or the demigods. And one grain of dust from Mayapur is more than all the gold and jewels in the universe or something. So then we can cross in the ocean of nescience. Nescience means ignorance, not scientific. There was a character claiming to be God. They called him Rajneesh, the king of ignorance, nescience, Ravana. We have a suitable boat, the body, but it's a constant chanting of the transcendental activities of the Lord. It's so simple, So we just hope we'll all come to the point of being like that, not just in the class, but whenever we get together, at least a little Krishna Katha, a few slokas, or we're just planning how to serve Krishna. It's also Krishna Katha. Making plans how to make a festival, how to distribute more prasadam, and especially how to distribute the books. This is what we want. I don't know where the scores are going. I only see what people put on Facebook, but I'm not seeing much. I think Kumasi, Chaitya Guru, and Port Harcourt is giving books. So, but everyone can give books. There's lots of books. And there's lots of people waiting to get the books. So we're just praying that devotees will take advantage. The more we read the book, of course, the more we want to distribute it. So this Bhagavad Gita verse is chapter 10, verse 9, from the seed verses, Mat chitta, mat gata prana. My devotees, their minds are always filled up with thoughts of me. Bodhayantas parasparam. And they're preaching among themselves. Katayanta, talking also, Mam, about me. This is what we're supposed to be doing. preaching among ourselves about Krishna. I hope we're doing right now. I'm trying. And these classes have been organized, which is very good. Bring more and more devotees together. Usually I saw much more, but still, anything is good. Because for Nigeria, it's 11 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sure many people can't really attend at that time. But talking amongst yourselves about Krishna all the time, Nityam. Katayantas Cham Nityam. Always, every day anyway. Really supposed to mean always, literally, but our acharyas are very liberal. And if you do it every day, it can be counted as always. And at the time of death, Krishna will count that you were always chanting because you chanted every day and tried every day. And we may be at a point before death where we can't chant, but Krishna gives credit for up to that time because sometimes physically or whatever reason, you're not able to function. Tushanti is very pleased. And Ramanti, transcendental bliss. Rama, Rama, Ramana, Radhika Ramana. Ramana. Rama means it gives pleasure. When Ravana killed Bali, the monkey, he wasn't really a monkey, but he was a Vanara. Call him a monkey, but no comparison to modern monkeys. So when he was dying, he said to Ram, who gave you that name? I'll kill that person that gave you that name. Rama means you're supposed to be giving pleasure to everybody. And you're not. You're causing so much pain to me. You got the wrong name. Rama means spiritual bliss. Ramada means giving pleasure. Giving spiritual pleasure. Sukhada means giving happiness. This is devotee's business. Giving Krishna. All right, so I think Sahadev doesn't come anymore. He is our question man.
It comes once in a while. Maybe he's busy today. He's one of the most regular devotees on the platform.
Yeah, but that time, that means in America, it's where he is, it's like 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. So that's not always easy, or because of his work, he may have to work at night a lot.
Yes.
He's a hospital worker, right? So they get all kinds of weird hours. Anyway, somebody have any comments or questions?
Please, if you have any question, you unmute yourself and ask Guru Maharaj question.
Let's see what can be done.
Jajamega, please unmute yourself.
Somebody raised their hand?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
I saw Ojasvi came on in the very beginning. Now he's gone.
Maybe his network was bad.
All right, who's going to say something?
I just Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Prabhu, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Okay, I've observed something here. Just I want to get a clarification on the platform. Most of the Matajis on this platform, they don't usually cover their head. But the last one that was on this platform, he covered his head. This is what I've been observing. So I would like to know is it in terms of the qualification that makes some cover their head and some do not? That's what I've observed on this platform, and I wanted to know.
Well, somehow it's not fashionable anymore. I mean, it's if you look at the old pictures, all the girls had their head covered all the time. But now even some of those Maharajas, they don't always cover their head either. But if they have their hair either short or tied back, that's pretty good. We call you that. Not these. I mean, if you saw the haircuts that the Afro-American people have in New York City, you wouldn't believe it. Some of it looks like they have a tree growing out. They have something sticking up like 6-8 inches, just a big glob of hair, like a big tower. And so many freaky things. But somebody has very short hair and they keep it back. Not so bad. Men don't always shave their head either. Although the African men shave their head more than other countries, because African men always shave their head. They don't, not just the devotees. All right. Any other spiritual questions? Scriptural questions? Kavi?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. I'm expecting some devotees or Nataraj Prabhu, are you there? Any question?
Nataraj is there?
Yeah, Nataraj Prabhu is there, Guru Maharaj.
Really?
Yes. Unmute yourself. Nataraj Prabhu, please unmute yourself.
I don't, oh, there he is. Nataraj Oparaucha. So how's it going in Port Harcourt?
We are not hearing you, Prabhu.
Well, George Amigo has his hand up, so call on him.
He already asked the question. That is the one who asks about the covering of head.
Okay, put your hand down then.
Then, Keshava Prabhu wrote a message in the chat room. Keshava Prabhu, can you say if you want to ask a question?
Who wrote a question?
Keshava Prabhu.
Many women no longer wear saris. Gopi skirts are the new norm now. Yeah, that's true. But that's not, I don't think that's a big deal. The Gopi skirts are quite nice, because they're long, they cover, they're not tight, All right. It's a big business in Vrindavan, the Gopi skirts, and the Russian Maharajas designed them, and the Ganga Prasad shop buys the designs from them, so he's supporting the Maharajas. And then the devotees buy them, and they go all over the world. It's much better than tight pants, like most of the ladies in the world are wearing. All right. Anyone else? Ganga Prasad, what's happening?
Keshava Prabhu want to ask a question.
Obesansi Satellotus Maharaj.
Who has the question?
Keshava Prabhu. Keshava Prabhu, please speak. You can speak.
Let's hear it.
Okay, the signal is not very good. I'm sorry, it comes in and out, breaks. Maharaj, you may know that 2 or 3 days ago, some Russian woman in the building where I'm staying in Vrindavan committed suicide. She threw herself the roof, fell 7 floors.
I just heard about
told
it
a friend
today.
of hers, another devotee, that she wanted to go and see Krishna. Her statement was the reason for doing this was she wanted to go directly to be with Krishna. She wanted to die in Vrindavan on her at the time of her choosing. Sorry, it's not related to the class. I'm just wondering, what would the destination of somebody be like that? Would they take on a ghost body, or would the fact that they passed away in the
Well, that's another thing. We don't know, what they're thinking at the time of death.
I can't.
So I just heard about it a few hours ago. And, when Mataji lives in the building, she was saying maybe, we should be more educated to know, because she was always talking like that. Oh, I want to be with Krishna. Maybe I should suicide. And nobody takes seriously. She always seemed very happy, always jolly and smiling person. So there is conversations, and they told Prabhupada about one boy in Calcutta who had committed suicide. And he had been trying to stay in the temple, but he had a heavy drug habit, and he just couldn't get over it. He said he was trying to get over it, but kept falling down, and he finally, he had pictures of Krishna and pictures of Prabhupada, and he was chanting, and he somehow killed himself. So Prabhupada said, oh, he was chanting when he died, so that can be something good. That was kind of surprising for the devotees to hear that. So we never know. One of my godbrothers, he was similar. He was quite a eccentric person, and he was always, going back and forth between America and India because of the visa. He'd go to America, collect money to go back to India. And then when he's in India, he had to leave for the visa. So he was doing nice service for Radhesham, Krishna Balaram, every day, making puris. But he was always saying, there's no hope for me. There's no way I can go back to Godhead. My only hope is to die in Vrindavan. And devotees never thought, because devotees talk like that anyway. So one day we got the call from the police to come and identify the body. And it was him. He jumped in front of the Radharani Express halfway between Vrindavan and Mathura. At that time, we were a little friendly with Narayan Maharaj, and somebody asked Narayan Maharaj, he said, well, because he suicide, he'll have to suffer, become a ghost or something for some time. But then the fact that he died in Vrindavan will dominate after some time. And then he could probably take another birth in Vrindavan. I was thinking like that myself. So we don't know for sure, because it depends on what somebody is thinking at the time of death. If they're really thinking of Krishna, it's not recommended to do that, because you never know what you're going to be thinking when you do it. We don't want to promote it, Many of these Russian girls are very sentimental, And Okay, so any other questions? Comments? Some information you want to share about Krishna? Silence. Salika just showed up. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, my respectful obeisances.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I
how's it
came
going
late.
there? How
I,
you
I
doing,
was
Josh?
I was writing an article for a program, preaching program, and I was having my system in front of me, but I lost count of the time. I just looked up and I
All
saw
right.
the time. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
Maharaj.
good if you have a preaching program. That's fantastic. That's what we need. And you're doing Food for Life pretty good, right? Pretty regular.
Yes, Maharaj. The World Interfaith Holy Week is coming in the next week. So there are a few program activities that is been lined up. So I'm going to be speaking in one or two of the places. So I was just preparing my speech for the programs.
Okay, congratulations. All right. Anyone else? Okay.
Sorry,
All right. So
sorry,
1
my
hour.
my computer went off, so I lost the contact after signing through my phone.
All right.
Now you are the host, Guru Maharaj, so you have to, if you're done, you have to end all.
I have to what?
End all.
Yeah. Time is up, right?
Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
We have a lot of amazing classes. So many different devotees. So let's really get rolling and, get the books out there. Get more and more new devotees.